All right, guys, welcome to the show. So today, I got a bunch of stuff for you, including, we didn't get to this story yesterday, but it's the Marjorie Taylor Greene theory on God punishing us. Hang in there for that. We'll get to a hilariously embarrassing story about Lauren Boebert. She was incredibly drunk, and she was at a Young Republicans gala, and she was annoying the shit out of Trump so much that security had to intervene. Oh, it's so glorious. I love that story so much. Then we get RFK Jr. comes out and says the classic dumb old guy shit about what's causing mass shootings. And later on, I got to give you an amazing story about what percentage of young new billionaires are self-made. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. I promise you will. And then we have an absolutely genocidal Fox News host who lets it all hang out on the air. So we got all that and more. Everybody do me a big favor. Please subscribe to the channel. Helps out big time in the algorithm. Doesn't cost you anything. And let's dive into it. So let's start with this here. Trump secretly held talks with the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Former President Donald Trump had a recent discussion with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. I'm going to get to at the end what I think it's about, because there's a lot of speculation around this. According to the New York Times, it was unclear what the two men discussed and whether it was their only conversation since Mr. Trump's departure from the White House. There's no way that that's the case. Neither representatives for Mr. Trump nor an official of the Saudi government responded to requests for comment, but news of their discussion comes at a time when the Biden administration is engaged in delicate negotiations with the Saudis aimed at establishing a lasting peace in the Middle East. Oh, please. Building on diplomatic ties between Israel and a number of Arab states forged through the work of the Trump administration. This comes amid suspicion that the Saudi government intends to work against Biden's re-election. It also comes as a major Saudi real estate developer has inked a deal with the Trump organization for a villa and golf project worth $4 billion. All right, we're going to come back to that in a minute. And by the way, do you think that should be allowed? Do you think that should be legal? Homie's running for president, and he's in the midst of a $4 billion deal with the government of Saudi Arabia. Doesn't that make it incredibly likely that no matter what happens, in every imaginable circumstance, Trump's going to have their back? They continue. Mr. Trump has other reasons to maintain warm relations with Prince Mohammed. The former president and Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, and former senior White House advisor, established close ties with the Crown Prince while in office and have capitalized on that goodwill in their private businesses since leaving government. Saudi Arabia was the first stop on Mr. Trump's first foreign trip as president, a sign of the value Mr. Trump placed on the relationship. Mr. Trump pursued major deals with the Saudis, including arms sales, and he defended Prince Mohammed at his moment of greatest international pressure after the CIA concluded that the Crown Prince had ordered the killing of the dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Meanwhile, the report said Mr. Kushner has benefited from Prince Mohammed's support on an even larger scale. Only 6 months after leaving government, Kushner's investment firm secured $2 billion from Saudi Arabia. Okay, so now the question comes up, well, what the fuck were they talking about? If it's a secret meeting, Trump said nothing about it, the Saudi government said nothing about it, they tried to keep it on the low, but they had the meeting. So what was likely discussed? Well, there's a few things. First of all, they point out that there's currently a $4 billion golf project in the works, probably a new Trump course in Saudi Arabia. I'm sure he's getting massive, massive subsidies from the Saudi government to do that. Look, Mohammed bin Salman is ruthless and vicious and a war criminal, but he's also smart. And what he's trying to do is buy favor with the U.S. president by getting into so many business deals with him and forking over so much money. So right off the bat, definitely this project they could have discussed. The other thing is, guys, Trump is already getting, at the very least, tens of millions of dollars from Saudi Arabia because the breakaway Live Golf Tour is completely Saudi funded. And a lot of these events are happening at Donald Trump golf courses. So they just had an event in Miami the other day. And I'm sure Trump gets paid millions and millions every time one of these events is at one of his courses. And they've been at a number of his courses. So it could be the tens of millions Trump is getting through Live. It could be the $2 billion deal that Jared Kushner had. It could be this new $4 billion golf deal that they're working on together. By the way, are you noticing a trend here? Are you noticing how close they are? The other thing it could be, and this is honestly a worst case scenario, but it's something to definitely keep in mind, is that Saudi Arabia holds tremendous control over oil and gas prices, because they can adjust the supply and change the price massively. They can make it drop a lot. They can make it go up a lot. And so the fear and the concern, and this has been around for a year or two now, is this notion that if the Saudis prefer Donald Trump over Biden, as much as it looks like they do, well then, what's to stop them as we get closer to the election from fucking with the supply and massively increasing gas prices? And then people will look at the gas prices. I mean, they can make it be unaffordable, right? They could double it, triple it. And then everybody's going to turn around and blame Joe Biden in the U.S. and say, well, you're the president. Fucking fix it. Why are gas prices so bad? But look, we will know if this was one of the things that Trump discussed with Saudi Arabia. Colluding with a foreign theocracy to take out your political opponent. We will know if that's the case, because you will have the gas prices shoot through the roof. And Saudi Arabia will act on behalf of Trump. Now, we can't speculate this far out. We don't have enough evidence or proof that this is definitely going to happen. But if it does happen, we 100% will know. It will be the most obvious thing in the world, and it will be foreign meddling in our electoral process. By the way, everybody made a big deal about Russiagate, and oh my God, Trump's Putin's puppet and all that stuff. All that was nonsense. The real concern, and it's an actual concern, this one's not made up, Israeli interference and Saudi interference. They control so much of U.S. politics. They are colossally well-funded lobbies, and you'd be surprised how cheap it is to buy a lot of these politicians. So, by the way, why do you think it is that Donald Trump didn't even do a little slappington on the wrist when Saudi Arabia murked Jamal Khashoggi and chopped him up into little bits and pieces? Why do you think that is? Why do you think they just took the side of Saudi Arabia? Well, you know why. Because we got a $2 billion handed directly to Jared Kushner from Mohammed bin Salman. By the way, oh, fuck. There was one other thing that I forgot. Oh, yeah. Jared Kushner allegedly shared classified information with Mohammed bin Salman. So there could have been a direct quid pro quo, tit for tat, because Mohammed bin Salman overruled his own advisors and said, no, we're going to give Jared Kushner the money. They didn't want to give it to him. He was like, no, we're going to do it. So could it be that was payback for seeing classified information on his enemies, right? So there's a lot going on here, man. But $4 billion deal now for a golf project with Trump, already giving tens of millions through the Live Golf Tour, $2 billion for Jared Kushner. And, you know, the next step could very well be you're going to fuck with the gas prices, right, to get me back in there. Because Saudi Arabia has a tremendous amount of power where if they double the gas prices leading into into election day and voters blame Biden, yeah, it's very possible they'll pick Trump. So a secret meeting with this dictator is unacceptable. Remember back when Trump ran in 2015, 2016? And he was very clear, like, Saudi Arabia did 9/11. They did 9/11. They're extremists. Now look at him. You never should have bought the notion that Trump, oh my God, he's not corrupt. He's self-funded. He wasn't self-funded, and he is corrupt. He took $100 million from Sheldon Adelson on 2 separate occasions and then changed policy for Sheldon Adelson, moved the Israeli embassy to Jerusalem, which really pissed off Palestinians and Hamas and in part led to October 7th. Again, the Abraham Accords, massive middle finger to Palestinians. This is all stuff that far-right Zionists wanted, and he catered to them because they paid him, right? And who else is paying him? The Saudis. They're going to get what they want. Donald Trump will not make decisions based on the American people. He'll make it based on his donors. And that's the final thing is it possible Trump was talking to Mohammed bin Salman to try to get bailed out of his legal woes, to have Mohammed bin Salman pay the $464 million fine? Is that possible? That, you know, he makes a deal with him like, hey, man, you help me pay off my $464 million fine, and whatever you want when I'm in the White House, you'll get it. Literally none of the possibilities are good of Trump having a secret meeting with this guy. None of the possibilities. Terrifying. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.